What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466 Cards, and today we're going to talk about junk slabs. These slabs that are going to be worthless in 2, maybe 5, definitely 10 years. And so on the screen here are slabs that I grabbed off of eBay that were, just readily listed as available for buy it nows that I don't think anybody's going to buy now. You have Killian Hayes, PSA 9 Silver Prism from Prism Draft Picks in the top left, all the way to the bottom right, an Isaac Okoro Panini Hoops base PSA 9. In the middle here, you got the Panini Prism base PSA 9 Frankie Smokes. There's tons available here. All these are just from basketball. Obviously, also applies to football, baseball, hockey. I assume Pokemon, any other TCG. There are failed prospects all over the place, and as a result, there's going to be tons of slabs that were graded in the last 3 years that are not going to be worth anything in 5, definitely 10 years, maybe even 2 for some of these folks as they drop out of the league. And so, what's going to happen to all these slabs? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Is where do I see this headed, and what other ideas could we use these slabs for? Like, there's gonna be millions of these things, right? Like, if you take a look at PSA's pop report, a million being graded every month, so that's roughly 12 million a year over the last couple of years here. So there is no way that all of those things, all of those slabs are going to be worth something long term. And so where are these slabs going to end up? Well, there is an obvious location I think we'd all like to avoid, and that's the landfill. At some point, as people move out of their homes or put them in storage and forget about them, or throw them away as they move, or kids as they grow up and move out of the house and they get lost in the shuffle, a bunch of these are going to end up in the landfill if we don't figure out a plan for them in the next 2, 5, 10 years. And I'd like to avoid that if possible. But I think this is the most obvious location as to where a bunch of these junk slabs are going to be because they're not worth anything, right? So let's walk through some ideas that I have. So first idea. PSA does a junk slab buyback program, very similar to Topps' MVP buyback program that they started last year. They've introduced again for 2023. And so the idea here is, for Topps anyways, is if you have a Topps Chrome card that is of that year's MVP, so if you buy 2023 Topps Chrome of a player and that player becomes the MVP, then you can return it to Topps and they will refund you some amount of money that you can use to buy more products at a local store or elsewhere, right? And it's a great program, very, very, very honest, just a genius idea. Definitely not something that other manufacturers have done, definitely not in mass like this before. And so I'm thinking PSA could do the exact same thing. They buy back all of your junk slabs for a PSA grading credit. They don't even have to pay you money. It's if you give them junk slabs for them to buy back, they buy them back at, say, some tiny number, obviously, maybe 25 cents, 50 cents, maybe a buck a slab, and that credit is just towards future grading fees. They don't even have to pay you money, right? It's just if you have 100 of these things, and if it's 25, 50 cents, you end up with 25 or 50 bucks in PSA or collector's credit, right? And so I think this would be genius. And so you're probably wondering, well, what is PSA or collectors? What are they going to do with these hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of junk slabs that are returned to them? The idea is pretty straightforward. And I don't know if this is possible, but it's just an idea. Why can't they recycle all that plastic? They crack the slabs, toss out the card, or donate the cards to a local hospital or a kids hospital, And then all that plastic, they melt it or they do whatever and reuse all the plastic so that it can be reused again for new slabs. And so is the cost of melting the plastic and then reusing it, is that possible? Can it be reused? Yada, yada, yada. I don't know. But like, there's just so much of these slabs out there that I really wish that they can be recycled and reused in some way. But so that's the most obvious idea to me. It's just PSA buys it back and reuses the plastic if possible, and maybe that saves them on raw materials costs because it's actually cheaper than buying the plastic whole. I don't know, but Nat Turner, you're welcome. Here's an idea to help you cut down your costs. Okay, but let's say that's not possible. Then what other ideas are there out there? So I've got one. A second one. We all love retro hipster bars, right? Think of all these arcade bars that have popped up in the past number of years. These hipster bars bringing us back to their youth. You can see here, there's all these old school games. Anywhere, anything from, you can see here in the bottom right, there's a Mortal Kombat, there's a wrestling game, a WrestleMania game. There's some pinball machines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? These are all Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all those things, right? Well, that's the reason why these are a big hit is because A, they're fun, and B, they bring us back to their youth. Well, in 10 years, a bunch of the people that are buying sports cards now some will still be in the sports cards, some will not, and it'll just be a memory, a distant memory from their path and their youth. Well, if you had a bar that just featured a bunch of these junk slabs and it was like their theme, this is the 2032 version of a hipster bar, and the tables are all made out of junk slabs. It's a bunch of PSA 9 Bull Bulls and Kevin Porter Juniors and whoever else, random players, Cam Reddish, all these type of guys. And the tables are all glass that you can see through, and underneath is just slab after slab after slab of prospects, failed prospects from a bygone era kind of thing, right? And maybe they're all also on the walls. Maybe even they're the floors. They could be everywhere, anywhere. And so that's an idea. It's 10 years from now, is there a retro sports bar that uses them basically as the theme for the restaurant? It's just we are this is our decoration. It's just junk slabs, and then they obviously maybe have some other memorabilia and stuff. So that's the second idea. What do you think about this idea? I think it's kind of fun. And then you can buy these slabs in bulk pretty easily, I would assume, if you're looking for just junk, right? Like you could probably get them pretty easily. So that's the second idea. There's also a third idea. And it's sort of like the second idea, but it's a little bit different because who's going to run the space? Who's going to run the sports card space from now for the next 20 years, maybe to the end of time? It's Fanatics, right? They've got all the licenses for basketball, football, baseball. They're expanding to the sportsbook space. So you could see here, even in this Fanatics sportsbook, you can see here there's jerseys in the background. It's all really nicely done. Here's a question. Wouldn't it be cool if you order a drink at the sports bar here or at this the sports book, and let's say you order a beer, and a beer arrives, a pop-up arrives, whatever you order, an old-fashioned, spice rum and Coke, my favorite, and your coaster is actually a junk slab from the junk slab era. Your coaster would be a PSA 9 Bull base card from Prism or whatever else. These failed prospects from whatever sport, or even Pokemon, but less likely for Fanatics, right? And so it does two things. One, it's hilarious. So it's thoughtful and it's fun. and it's a great conversation starter. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember Cam Reddish, yeah, Duke, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then two, it's basically free advertising for sports cards for people at a sports location, i.e., this Fanatics Sportsbook, right? Fanatics is gonna be the player in this space, and any marketing that they can do, it's gonna be great. Use a junk slab as coasters for drinks at their sports books. I think this is an easy one. They can buy, in 5-10 years, they can buy these easily for like, less than $1 a piece. So I mean, I don't know how much coasters cost, but if a coaster costs 25 cents to get one, just quadruple it and have a fun little aspect of it, to make it more of a marketing tool and a conversation starter. And again, it's hilarious. Like, imagine you show up to order a drink and, oh, what's this? It's a Taylor Horton Tucker Prism base PSA 9 rookie card. Yeah, remember that time that LeBron said he was going to be the next greatest thing? And then that just gets the conversation started. And then you read the back of the card, maybe, because again, it's right there in front of you. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I remember basketball cards. Like, what's happening about that? I remember baseball cards when I was younger, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And it just gets the conversation started for sports cards. I think this is such an easy win for Fanatics, especially if they're trying to get more people into the space, that, Michael Rubin, hire me for marketing. I've got some ideas. Here's a simple one for you. So that's the third idea, and those are the 3 ideas that I had for the video. So let me know your thoughts about these 3 ideas. Do you have other ideas of how we can save some of these junk slabs from ending up in the dumpster? I think anything we can do now to at least get some of these ideas going would be a great start for preventing all that plastic getting just wasted. So as we do on this channel, we preview the next planned video. Sometimes I throw an extra video in there that is unplanned, but the next one is about your eBay listings and when you should strategically remove them from eBay. I'll talk about why you should do this and why it will help you to do it. So that'll be for next time. So if you enjoyed and liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you as always for listening and watching, and I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.